All right. Hello. I have two viewers, it looks like now, so I guess I'll start. So my name's Lindsay Reed. I'm a first year medical student at Ottawa. I'm from Belleville, Ontario. I did my undergrad in Waterloo. And I'm just here today to talk to you about stimulating our minds and trying to maintain good brain health. So I first wanted to start with a riddle to try to get our brains moving. Hi, Megan. Just to get our brains moving. So here it is. There's a one-story house in which everything is yellow. Yellow walls, yellow doors, yellow furniture. What color are the stairs? And I'll give everyone a minute or two to think about that one. And no pressure, I'm horrible at riddles, so if you don't know it, then I also wouldn't either. But I'm looking at the answer, so. All right, so I'll just repeat it one more time. Yes, I can repeat it. There's a one-story house in which everything is yellow. Yellow walls, yellow doors, yellow furniture. What color are the stairs? Yes, there is a twist. I would have also said yellow. And Teresa has it. It's a one-story house, so there aren't any stairs. So they wouldn't be yellow. But that's a tricky one. I definitely would have said yellow for sure. Yes, no stairs. Yeah, perfect. And all right, so hopefully that's got everyone's brains moving. And I first wanted to talk about sort of the science behind why stimulating your brain is important. I'm a medical student, so I love to think about sort of why things are happening. So hopefully that will be interesting to everyone else. If you have any questions, yeah, just post them in the chat. I can see all the comments because the brain is super complicated and I'm definitely not an expert in it. And I don't think anyone is. There's so much that we don't know about what goes on, but I'll just talk about a little bit of information that I found through doing research just about stimulating our brains. So I first want to start off with a quote I found, and it said, "If you want your mind to remain young and agile well into old age, here's a foolproof formula. Do anything and everything you can to keep your brain cells active." So I'm going to explain sort of the mechanism behind why that is, but I thought that that was sort of a general way of, or a good way of thinking of it. Just keeping your brain active will just help you stay agile into your old age, which is what everybody wants, I think. And so I think this quote sums it up well. And in terms of mental aging, I'm not talking about necessarily like dementia or Alzheimer's, more so just mental aging in terms of everyday functioning. So just remembering your medication regimen or engaging in social activities or things like that. And there's research that suggests that stimulating your brain can improve your brain reserve, which can maintain your brain's ability to function over periods of illness. So, brain reserve is similar to muscle reserve. The more muscle we have, the more buffer room we have. If we lose some, we won't have as much issue. And so, the more brain reserve we have, the more brain power we can lose before it causes us issues, like forgetting our medication regimen, for example. So within our brains, we have neurons called nerve cells, or nerve cells called neurons, other way around. And basically, there's these impulses that go between the neurons that allow us to think and remember and even give us like our personality and our consciousness. So they're pretty amazing little cells. And our brain reserve, we can think of it as the sophistication of the connection between them, and the strength of the connection. And so the greater the strength or complexity, the more brain reserve we have, so the more damage we can have before having issues in memory and things like that. So obviously that sounds great, and that's what we want. So how do we increase our brain reserve or increase the strength and complexity of the connections? And this is a process known as neuroplasticity, where if you increase your neuroplasticity, you're increasing the connections in your brain. So you have all these complex connections, and then there's negative neuroplasticity where you're losing connections, which obviously is not what we want. And I actually found an interesting study that showed that, well, I'll first describe what it is. They recruited 40 to 67-year-olds and attempted to teach them to juggle with 3 balls. And then once they learned to juggle, they scanned their brain, and they found that they had more complex and stronger connections in the cells of their brain. So that showed that learning a new skill was actually able to increase your brain reserve. And so this isn't just for this one study, but lots of studies have found that learning a new skill or stimulating your brain over your lifetime actually protects against cognitive decline in your brain function. So that's kind of the sciencey part of the talk. Does anybody have any questions about that? So the brain's super complicated, but that's kind of like the underlying mechanism of what I'm talking about today and why we want to keep our brains active. And I'm just talking about sort of mentally stimulating games, but there's also just physical activity as well as social stimulation, which all sort of help with the same thing of keeping our brains active. How can I improve? That's a great question. So I'm going to go through some games like trivia, and we're going to do some more riddles and some anagrams and things like that, just to right now stimulate our brains. But I think there are different things that you can do at home, like learn a new skill. Exactly. May not have to be juggling. I'm not sure how well I could learn that. But for example, you could do Sudokus or crosswords, or learn a new skill like crochet or knit, or really anything that interests you. I think would help stimulate your mind. And I do think that it is personal to everyone. I mean, what you find interesting is what you're going to do in the long run. So I think it's important to have it something not only that's beneficial for your mind, but is also just enjoyable. So you'll do it in long term. Yeah, Sudoku's great. I am not great at it. I should try to get better. My father does them every morning, so that's sort of why that example came up in my head. But I think that's a great one. And also learning a new language. Yeah, that's another great example. Especially in Ottawa. I'm just moved to Ottawa in the fall. I'm finding that it's I mean, it's very bilingual city, so that's really, really nice. Um, so yeah, learning a new language is great, and I think Ottawa is also a really great place to do that. Um, any other ideas that people have? Those are really great options. I'm learning to knit now, so that's why I said that one as well. Learning a new dance or yoga movements would also be beneficial for your brain. Definitely. Yeah, so physical activity is definitely one that also helps your brain at any age. Brushing your teeth with your non-dominant hand, yeah, that would definitely be mentally stimulating, I think. I have not tried that, but I think that would be very challenging. Learning to embroider, that's awesome. My sister embroiders. It's pretty amazing. That's a good hobby to pick up for sure. Can make some very. It's nice when your hobby also produces very nice things. That's just a nice sort of coincidence when that happens. Memorizing lines for a play or script for sure. That's a great one. I never would have thought of that one, but yeah, that's a really great one. Um, Especially if you're in a play or or something like that, then that's obviously ideal. Any others? I've never been in a play, but I imagine that it's pretty challenging to memorize all of those lines. And one example that I always think of that sort of motivates me to stimulate my mind to keep my brain health and cognitive health up. Another example of learning an instrument. That's a great one too. Does anyone here play any instruments? Oh, another, both thinking the same thing. Yeah, playing an instrument would be another really, really great one. I think I should pick up learning an instrument. Yeah, so as I was saying, sorry, another thing that motivates me is I often think of Stephen Hawking, who is the scientist. He studied black holes, and he had a diagnosis of ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease. And he was 21 years old when he got the diagnosis, and they didn't think he was going to live that long. But obviously he did. And I often think that maybe he lived so long because he was just always thinking and using his mind, and that just helped him through his condition. I have to say, I don't think there's any evidence behind that. Um, but I just I just think of it that way, and I think that that is just nice. I think that's a nice way to think about it. And I'm just seeing a comment here. I used to play the piano. That's really great. Um, I'm curious if you remember how to play it. I learned to play the piano and I don't really remember, so I would be jealous um, if you remember if you remember how to play it. It's sad sometimes how you forget these things that you did as a kid. Um, but playing the piano is really great. Really, any instrument. And does anyone else have any other games or skills that they could think of? That's what I'm wondering if I could remember. Yeah, having trouble with the video. Oh no. Hopefully, hopefully it's okay. It might be the internet on my end. I'm not sure. Yeah, so I think remembering is challenging, but that would be, I'm sure learning a new skill and remembering an old one would also help stimulate your mind. So either way. Scrabble, that's great. Yeah, Scrabble's great too because then you're getting a bit of social, you're playing with other people, um, expanding your vocabulary potentially, which is always great. So that's definitely multifunctional. It does cut out a bit. Depends on the internet connection. Hopefully everyone's having okay with hearing me. I hope that's okay. Teresa just says here, read lots of books. That's one that I love to do. If you have any recommendations for us all, I'd love to hear them. I always tend to read the same kind of book, like sort of like a memoir is sort of my favorite genre, so I should try to branch out. So if anyone has any recommendations, I would love to hear them. Words, and then I'm reading Words with Friends. Is that like an app or something? I've never heard of that one. I think apps are great too for these sorts of things. I mean, there's so many different apps that you can get that that help with mind, that are sort of like mind games and things like that. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of Wordle, but that's kind of like a very popular game these days that's played. So I think that one is also a good one to jump on the bandwagon for because it does stimulate your mind a lot. I'm not very good at it, but it's super fun. Reading Will Smith's latest book. I didn't know he wrote a book. And latest book, has he written more than one book? That's pretty impressive. The Salt Path, I've never heard of that one. I'll have to look that one up. Oh, Carol. Thank you. Sorry about that. This one says Indigo Chapters has a new reading challenge for 2022, 25 books in a year from all different genres and formats. Wow. That would be good for me so I could branch out of the genre that I'm sort of stuck in. I think I need to do that. I'm currently have this one on the go, but I haven't made much progress, but Between Two Kingdoms. It's good so far. Yeah, I also didn't know that Will Smith wrote a book. That's very cool. Multi-talented man. Yeah, that's a very cool chapters challenge. I think that's a great idea. And those are all really great ideas to stimulate our minds. Have to read book, simply called Will. I'll have to write that one down as well. Will. Yeah, reading would be a great way to do it. And I thought everyone's had really great comments for ways to stimulate our minds, and I thought we could try another riddle and see how everyone does. So, here it is. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? I'll repeat it one more time. I'm tall when I'm young, and I'm short when I'm old. What am I? Seeing another suggestion for activities, taking an online course, just while everyone thinks about that one. That's another great option. As someone who takes a lot of courses, definitely I can say it does stimulate your mind. A human. I know it is a tricky riddle. I definitely wouldn't be able to get it if I wasn't looking at the answer. So it is, drumroll, it's a candle, exactly. Stacy just got it. Yeah. So I'm tall when I'm young and I'm short when I'm old. So a candle burning would fit that. Yeah, awesome guess for sure. That's incredible. And I do have another one. I find them super fun. So here it is. What has to be broken before you can use it? And I'll repeat it again. What has to be broken before you can use it? An egg, first guess. Wow, that was impressive. A nut? Oh, that works too, doesn't it? Yeah, an egg is answer, but I feel like a nut makes sense too. Yes, all very good. All right, I also have, yeah, a nut would work too. Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense. So you guys went above and beyond and found an extra answer. If anybody has any opinions, let me know about doing another riddle, or I have some trivia games or a trivia quiz that we could do. As just an example activity of a way to sort of get our minds moving. If anyone has any strong opinions. Another riddle. All right. All right, here, this one's good. What goes up but never comes down? And I'll just repeat that one. What goes up but never comes down? I used to always say when I was a kid, what comes up must come down, so that doesn't fit with this one. A balloon? Wait. That's hilarious. I feel that those both could probably work. Any other guesses? Both very, I think both could fit your weight. I don't know if that one works, but that was hilarious. But the answer is your age goes up. Oh, Brenda just got it. And rain again, that one works too. I guess it goes down more so than up, but goes one way. Okay, here's another good one. Okay, so a man who was outside in the rain without an umbrella or hat didn't get a single hair on his head wet. Why? Rain was a very good guess, though. All good guesses. So, a man who was outside in the rain without an umbrella or hat didn't get a single hair on his head wet. Why? He was bald. Yes, that is the answer. Good job, everyone. You guys are much better at riddles than I am, for sure. Exactly. Oh, you've used this one. Darn. Yes, it's a good one. I know, I never would have guessed that either. So very impressive. Yeah, most of these ones I've never heard of before, so hopefully they're new to everyone here as well. All right. I also had, does anyone know like anagrams? So it's like I give you a word and then you have to think of different words that you can make with the letters of that word, if that makes sense. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. But I was thinking that if I give you the word answers, how many words can you make with those letters? Does that make sense? An example, for sure. So let's say it's answers. And if you rearrange some of those letters, you can make the word earns. If anyone can think of any other words. But otherwise, we can keep going with the riddles. Swears. Yeah, that's a good one. This also is hard without paper and a pen, I think. I feel I'm someone that sort of needs to see things, so hopefully people maybe have some paper. Snare. Another great one. Wanes. Yes. Saw was, yeah. Sew. Does anyone sew as a skill? That's a good skill to learn, sewing. Swans, wears, yeah. There is one 7-letter word that you can make with answers. Which would be very impressive if anyone could get that one. Earns, yeah. New, awe. Is words with friends similar to this? I'll have to look it up. And I will type in the word. Ron. That is the 7-letter word, which I never would have gotten. So really amazing job. That's a lot of words. It's online Scrabble. Cool. All right. And does anyone want to do any trivia questions? Or a riddle again? Don't know. Online Scrabble. All right, I will do a trivia question. Uh, a riddle. Okay, I'll do a riddle and a trivia question there, and then it works either way. Okay. Let me just find a good one. Okay, this one's good. Okay. I have branches, no fruit, trunk, or leaves. What am I? Then I'll repeat. I have branches, no fruit, trunk, or leaves. What am I? A bank. A bank was right. A bush. Good guess. Great guess. But the answer was bank, yes. And I'll do one more just because they're so fun. Okay. David's parents have 3 sons, Snap, Crackle, and what's the name of the third son? And I'll read it one more time. David's parents have 3 sons, Snap, Crackle, and what's the third name? See a couple answers for Pop. That's also what I would have gone for, but the correct answer is David. Yes, David. Because it starts off with David's parents have 3 sons. So that one's tricky. I definitely would have said Pop as well. Good job, everyone. All right, and now I'll do a couple trivia questions. All right, so first one. With which sport is Michael Jordan associated? I'll read it again. With which sport is Michael Jordan associated? Basketball. Yes, that is the right answer. Is anyone a big basketball fan or sports fan here? I don't watch a lot of basketball. Actually, I should say I never watch basketball. Not that I don't watch it often. But it is a fun sport. Yeah, so basketball is the right answer. All right. Okay, this one I think is hard. Which record label did Michael Jackson first record on? Maybe that's not hard, I'm not sure. I definitely wouldn't get that one. Love basketball was my sport. That's cool. Did you play it for long, Stacy? I'll repeat that one more time. Which record label did Michael Jackson first record on? That one's tricky. The answer is Motown. I was on a team back in high school, junior high and high school. Oh, and got into coaching. Wow, that's really cool. Motown. Yep, that was the answer. Yeah. Motown, yes. All right. And who recorded the album Dark Side of the Moon? Are there many big music fans here? That would probably make these ones a bit easier. Who recorded the album Dark Side of the Moon? Pink Floyd, yes. That's the answer to that one. Any Pink Floyd fans? I can't say I know too much. More of a country music fan. Nice. I am from Belleville, and that's pretty big in that city. People like country music. Pink Floyd, yes. All right. All right, next question. My Heart Will Go On came from which movie? Couple likes for country music fans, so maybe we've got a few country music fans. Oh, more of it jazz and musical, or jazz and classic. That's very cool. I think I should listen to more classical music when I study and things like that. Titanic, yes. Couple correct answers for that one. And just trying to find another good one. Who played Rachel Green in Friends? I'm not sure whether Friends is more popular now or when it first aired. I feel like since it went on to Netflix, it's very popular. So who played Rachel Green in Friends? If there's any Friends fans. Does anybody have any favorite shows? Jennifer Aniston, yes. Any favorite shows or movies? I wouldn't say that's super mentally stimulating, but still good to have downtimes too. You can't stimulate your mind all the time. All right. Just trying to find another good one. Yeah, Jennifer Aniston. Okay. All right, this is a good one if for those that like movies. Which Kevin starred in The Bodyguard? I'm not sure I know that movie, so I hope that maybe others have. Costner, yes. Is that it? Have you seen that movie? Has everyone seen that movie? Maybe it's just me. All right, this is a good one. Saw it a long time ago. Maybe I should add it to the list. It's a classic. Oh, I should definitely watch it if it's a classic. All right. Okay, so since we talked about books, which year is used as the title of a George Orwell book? I'll repeat that one more time. Which year is used as the title of a George Orwell book? (1984). Has anybody read 1984? I read that one a while ago, but another good book and a classic, I guess similar to The Bodyguard. I'll have to watch that. All right, and we'll just do one more riddle and then end the live there. I hope everyone has had a good time and definitely appreciates the importance of stimulating your mind and has come away with some ideas of how to incorporate that in their daily lives. Definitely had a lot of great ideas like learning to play an instrument, and really any other skill, learning a new language. Lots of great options were mentioned. So I'll do one more riddle. All right, here it is. What gets bigger when more is taken away? And I'll repeat it one more time. What gets bigger when more is taken away? A hole. Ding, ding, ding. Cheryl got that one. It is a hole. Again, very clever. I definitely couldn't have come up with that. I'm glad to hear it was fun and people definitely stimulated their mind. That's really great to hear. So I hope that, oh, the day. Sorry, another entry has come in. Another great guess. But yeah, the answer was whole. But I guess the day. What gets bigger when more is taken away? It was fun. Great. I'm glad to hear everyone had fun. So I hope everyone has a great night. And I'll be back in a couple weeks. So have a great night, everyone. Bye.